Hi, Roger here. That was the end of uh, video, which at the beginning has Europe: A Prophecy from William Blake, epic, followed by the all throughout playing the Gallic Symphony. And I just wanted to read this about revolution through poetry. So this is a piece. On a blog about William Blake. I'll put a link in the description. And what went before that music was the poem. So in Europe: A Prophecy, William Blake uses the character's representation to demonstrate his perspective regarding the French Revolution in Europe. In the poem, Los is in preparation for a war besides Orc, who arrives with furious terror and golden chariots. In a Blake dictionary, Los represents poetry, which is an expression of the creative imagination. He is the manifestation of Urthona, the representation of the creative imagination in the individual. Moreover, Orc is a representation of revolution in the material world. The combination of Los and Orc in the war illustrates Blake's prophetic vision for the discovery of the creative imagination through revolution. However, this revolution is because of repressed love. In other words, Blake is arguing for a non-violent revolution through the use of poetry to discover the creative imagination, or the poetic genius, which inhabits every individual. Orc arrives with furious terror because he is the representation of revolution, and his emotions is a representation of the individuals involved in the revolution. Furthermore, he arrives with golden chariots, a reference to the Greek god of the sun, Apollo, and the chariots bring light to the world. In other words, poetry and revolution will bring furious terror to the individuals, which will bring light to the world with the discovery of one's creative imagination. William Blake criticizes the environment of reason during the French Revolution and advocated for revolution through the use of poetry to discover one's creative imagination. Blake's argument reinforces his perspective regarding the significance of contraries in understanding the world. Therefore, the importance of these contraries, creativity and the age of reason, is crucial in comprehending the revolution. That's by Hong-Si Su, and the link will be in the description. Next, I'm going to play this and the video slideshow that I put together for this. This is back in the summer of 2019, around the time that I did the reading of the Prophecy for Europe. But let's hopefully this sound will come through, and I'm going to put it full screen so you can enjoy the And you can hear Annie Lennox singing backing vocals on that. Um, so here we are. This is back in the screen. Just make sure we are streaming here. And the next tab that I have here now is this one. I did this blog yesterday, or in the middle of the night, actually. Say Yes to Life. This is Ben McBrady, the last druid of an old Gaelic order. It's a wonderful video documentary film. And Say Yes to Life. So Say Yes to Life. What Ben says is that Molly at the end of Ulysses says yes to life. She's a yay sayer to life, and gives some very important words. Just gonna turn this off. Sorry, folks. The next one playing there would have been How Central Bankers Rig the World, the companion song to You and Me. You and Me by Danny McGaw. So that's the Nomi Prince book that came out in 2018. But just getting back to the blog here. Anyway, this blog came about because I was listening to Olga Sheehan and this interview with Robert David Steele. And I found this interview because Olga published a book on electromagnetic frequencies and the fact that the harms from them have been suppressed for a very long time, with the World Health Organization at the front of the cover-up. So here's EMF off cover-up, and it's this book which actually I was alerted to on the Windows and the World website, and I had this in a blog that I did back in 2018, and I commented to Francis Leader, Boudica, and Uncensored on Substack. Hi, Francis, if you do watch this. I've been reading Francis's work for a long time. I owe Francis a tremendous debt to, it's guided me towards some of the things which are of interest in my own studies. So that book there, this will all be in the links to the description. And so I then did this blog. So I'm going to now do this blog as a follow-on to the William Blake poem with the beautiful Gaelic symphony as the backdrop to that. The introduction from Don Henley's Age of Innocence album, If Dirt Were Dollars. And now we're going to get to man's status is better and higher for the very reason for which it is thought to be inferior. And that's Pelagius. Now, Ben McBrady mentions Pelagius, and if you watch all the various videos that sort of plug into this particular blog on Substack, you'll see where we're going with this. Now, this next quote here: so this life of man appears for a short space, but of what went before or what is to follow, we are utterly ignorant. Now, that's Coffey, who was the priest to the Northumbrian king, who allowed Christianity to enter into the kingdom of Northumbria in 627 AD. Now, if you look at Pelagius, if you look at ancient teachings, the spiritual religious teachings as opposed to the ecclesiastical dogmatic teachings, somewhere between those 2 points, things went terribly wrong. And this blog looks at other points in history where things have gone terribly wrong. And one of those times where things have gone terribly wrong is now, and why Blake's vision of Europe is so very relevant to now, is again, Blake is urging us to use the poetry in our souls and the love in our hearts to rise up against the naysayers to life, as Ben McGrady calls them, to the negative aspects of life. And this is what Olga Sheehan said in her interview with oh, where's he gone now? In her interview with forgotten his name, but I'll get it. Here we are. In her interview with Robert David Steele. So that's all of that. So let's just scroll down this blog and I shall explain myself. Now, this is the 6th satire of Juvenal, or by Juvenal, and it was mentioned to me the other day. I was talking to a friend of mine who happens to be a Latin scholar, and he's mentioned this satire to me several times. And he said to me, sed quis custodis ipsos custodes, which is basically who is guarding the guards. So I'm aware of whatever counsels you old friends warn. Throw the bolt and lock her in, but who is going to guard the guards themselves? Who now keeps silent the lapses of the loose girl paid off in the same coin? The common crime keeps it silent. A prudent wife looks ahead and starts with them. Now, Juvenal was a Roman poet, and quis custodiet ipsos custodes, who watches the watchman. Okay, so this is explained in a medical journal. He was questioning the integrity of guards posted to ensure his wife's fidelity. Now, more recently, the phrase has been generalized to challenge authority, the utility of regulators and schemes of quality assurance. This paper, which is linked to there, I think it's up this end of all those windows. It is there, and it's talking about peer-reviewed papers in medicine and who watches the watchers. Now, people that follow Francis's work and have been skeptical of, and hopefully by this stage scornful of, the contric, pandemic, COVID-19 narratives, the fear narratives that were absolutely drenched upon us in the early spring of 2020. That this speaks to that, to the corruption of the Academy of Medicine. Okay, so that's that. So next, then I come to a quote from Schumpeter, and this is all on similar themes. Innovation has increasingly become a key to long-run growth. Like all production, innovation must be financed. So finance is central to the innovation process. Indeed, this is why Schumpeter called the banker the E4 of the exchange economy. Now, E4s were the mystics that were up the Temple of Delphi, and they oversaw the 2 Spartan kings. Schumpeter posed the question, E4s of debt. Who is it that watches the watchers? Who keeps an eye on the E4s? Now, I use E4s of debt as a figure in my poem, Usually Hell's Fuel Men's Oppressor. In the last stanza, I describe E4s of debt sat above and astride the law. They're above the law. So this goes on to say, in recent decades, finance has retreated from serving the real economy. The financial sector serves itself, and companies in the real economy have become financialized to an important extent, to be discussed below. So that is from this paper, which is from 2015. One of the authors is Randall Wray, and the abstract of the paper reads as follows. This paper discusses the role that finance plays in promoting the capital development of the economy, with particular emphasis on the current situation of the United States and the United Kingdom. We define both finance and capital development very broadly. We begin with the observation that the financial system evolved over the post-war period from one in which closely regulated and chartered commercial banks were dominant to one in which financial markets dominate the system. Over this period, the financial system grew rapidly relative to the non-financial sector, rising from about 10% of value added and a 10% share of corporate profits to 20% of value added and 40% of corporate profits in the United States. To a large degree, this was because finance, instead of financing the capital development of the economy, was financing itself. At the same time, the capital development of the economy suffered perceptibly. If we apply a broad definition to include technological advances, rising labour productivity, public and private infrastructure innovations, and the advance of human knowledge, the rate of growth of capacity has slowed. Now, this is decoupling real life with an abstracted financial system, which is part of what Blake found so disturbing about hard materialism. You find it in Kant as well, when Kant mourns the falling back of metaphysics, and Modo Rerum. I'm now, what is it? I'm now exiled and penniless, which is again from Greek mythology, and he uses that as a figure to describe how metaphysics has been eclipsed, and something of the baby has been thrown out with that bathwater. This next video then is episode 6 of The Rise and Fall of Money, from the series The Age of Uncertainty, which came out in 1977. That's a chap called Galbraith, John Kenneth Galbraith. Very good series. That's a great episode. All of them are on my YouTube channel. There's its logo there. So, Juvenal, who we mentioned previously, actually is also the coiner of the term bread and circuses. So this is a poem I wrote called The Conquest of Circuses, which I wrote during the pandemic. Know the circus's role. And then we come to my introduction to Blake, Europe a Prophecy, which is a short introduction to that. So I'm going to play that as well, because this is going to take as long as it tells, and nobody's going to watch it anyway. And it's really just my notes. So before I get into reading some of the words, as it were, the final thing I wanted to do in this introduction was actually read the bits of writing that come from this Boudicca's Rebellion. So I'm dedicate this post to Francis. And Boudicca's Rebellion is a original music that's been made by this artist, LVAT, and there are a couple of slides that appear. Rebellion. It is in my mind. That if people face the death or slavery as their only choices, are not ready going to the liquid war. Behold the proud display of warlike spirits, and consider the motives for which we draw the avenging sword. On this spot we must either conquer or die with glory. There is no alternative. Though a woman, my resolution is fixed. The men, if they please, may survive with infamy and live in bondage. Now, those were Boudicca's words, and I've got some stuff here. Bear in mind what I said about William Blake, poetry, imagination, and actually winning this war intellectually. It's a war of love against hate, and it's always the hammer that breaks and never the anvil. And our shoulders as a people have been acting as the anvil for the naysayers to life long enough. So Britain's enslavement. Tacitus explains the policy of his father-in-law, Agricola, in bringing the comforts of Roman civilization to the barbarous British. His object was to accustom them to a life of peace and quiet by the provision of amenities. He therefore gave official assistance to the building of temples, public squares, and good houses. He educated the sons of the chiefs in the liberal arts and expressed a preference for British ability as compared to the trained skills of the Gauls. The result was that instead of loathing the Latin language, they became eager to speak it effectively. In the same way, our national dress came into favour and the toga was everywhere to be seen, and so the population was gradually led into the demoralising temptation of arcades, baths, and sumptuous banquets. The unsuspecting Britons spoke of such novelties as civilization, when in fact they were only a feature of their enslavement. Right, so this is the next bit. This is Bede telling us what Quothede said as advice to Edwin, the King of Northumbria, about the form of Christianity which was being discussed. The present life of man, O king, seems to me in comparison of that time which is unknown to us, like to the swift flight of a sparrow through the room wherein you sit at supper in winter with your commanders and ministers, and a good fire in the midst, while the storms of rain and snow prevail abroad. The sparrow, I say, flying in at one door and immediately out at another, whilst he is within us, is safe from the wintry storm, but after a short space of fair weather, he immediately vanishes out of your sight into the dark winter from which he had emerged. So this life of man appears for a short space, but of what went before or what is to follow, we are utterly ignorant. If therefore this new doctrine contains something more certain, it seems justly to deserve to be followed. And that, my friends, was a big mistake. So in March 2016, I did a blog about Brexit and about the race between Bernie Sanders and Hillary Clinton in the US, etc. And so that was obviously before the runoff then between Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump. And there are some further quotes here from Boudica. So I'm going to read this as well. You've found out how much freedom differs from slavery through real experiences, so that even if earlier some of you through ignorance of what was superior were tricked by the tempting promises of the Romans, you now, having tried both, have learned how great a mistake you made in preferring an imported tyranny to your ancient way of life. And you know how much penury without a master surpasses wealth as a slave. For what of the most shameful, the most distressing sort have we not experienced since these people have taken themselves to Britain? Have we not been robbed entirely of most of our greatest possessions? And do we not pay taxes on the rest? Besides pasturing and farming for them, do we not pay yearly tribute for our own bodies? By how much would it have been better to be sold once and for all, rather than to be held ransom each year with the empty titles of freedom? By how much would it have been better to be slain and die than to endure while subject to a head tax? And yet why did I say this? For among them not even dying is scot-free, but you know how much we pay even for our dead. With other people death frees even those who are enslaved, but with the Romans alone the dead live on for gain. And why is it that, even though none of us has money, for how would we get it and from where? We are sold and stripped like victims of a homicide. And why should they be moderate in the time to come, when they have treated us in this fashion immediately, and when all men treat even newly caught beasts well? To speak the truth, we are responsible for all these evils, as some of us entrusted them to set foot on the island to begin with, and did not immediately drive them off, as we did under the famous Julius Caesar, and we did not as we did with both. Augustus and Gaius Caligula make an attempt at a formidable voyage. Thus, though we inhabit so large an island, rather a continent surrounded by water, and though we have our own world and are cut off by the ocean from all other people to such an extent that we have been believed to inhabit another land and sky, and even some of the wisest men have not previously known our name accurately, we have been disdained and trampled on by people who know nothing other than greed. But although we have not done the proper things beforehand, let us, my countrymen and friends and kinsmen, for I consider you kinsmen, since you inhabit one island and are called by a common name, do them now, so that we may leave behind to our children both the name and reality of freedom, while we still remember it. For if we utterly forget our natural state of happiness, what will our children do, nursed in slavery? I do not say these things so that you will hate your present circumstances, for you have hated them, nor so that you will fear what is to come, for you have feared it, but so that I may laud you, because you have by yourselves chosen all the necessary steps, and thank you for readily working together with me and each other. Do not all fear the Romans, for they are neither more numerous than we, nor more brave. And the proof is that they are covered with helmets and breastplates and greaves, and besides prepared with stockades and walls and trenches so as not to suffer from an attack of the enemy. For they are overpowered by fears, unlike us who act offhandedly. We truly enjoy such an abundance of bravery that we consider our tents more secure than their walls, and our shields far more sufficient than their full suits of armor. As such, overpowering them, we capture them, and overpowered, we flee. And if we decide to withdraw somewhere, we slink away and hide in such marshes and hills that we can't be found or seized. But the Romans, because of their heavy armor, are neither able to chase anyone nor to flee. And if they ever run away, they flee to appointed places and are enclosed there as if trapped, and in these respects they are by far inferior to us. They can also not endure hunger, thirst, cold, or heat as we can, but requiring shade, shelter, and bread. They need wine and oil, and if any of these things runs dry, they perish. For us, all grasses and roots serve as bread, all liquids serve as oil, all water serves as wine, and all trees serve as a house. Verily, these lands are familiar to us and our allies, but are unknown and adverse to them, and we swim the rivers naked, whereas they cannot get to the other side of them easily with boats. But let us go against them, trusting in good fortune. Let us show them that they are hares and foxes, attempting to rule over dogs and wolves. Having said these things, employing some kind of divination, she let a hair escape from a fold of her dress, and when it ran in an auspicious direction, the whole multitude shouted out with delight, and Boudica, lifting her hand towards the sky, said, I give thanks to you, Andraste, and I call upon you as a woman, to a woman, as one who does not rule over burden-bearing Egyptians, as Nitocris, or over the tradesmen Assyrians as Semiramis. For even we have already learned these things from the Romans, or over the Romans themselves, as did Messalina, then Agrippina, and now Nero, for though he has the name of a man, he is in fact a woman, as one can tell from his singing, his lyre playing, and his grooming. Rather, I rule over the Britons who don't know how to farm or practice a trade, but have learned how to be consummate fighters and consider all things common, including children and wives, and as a result, the women have the same valor as men. Ruling over such men and women, then I both pray to you and ask for victory, safety, and freedom against insolent, unjust, insatiate, and profane men. If at any rate one should even call people men who bathe in warm water, eat artificial dainties, imbibe unmixed wine, anoint themselves with myrrh, sleep on soft bed with boys, even ones past their prime, and are slaves to a bad lyre player. Truly may Miss Domita Nero no longer rule over us, but let that singing girl be lord over the Romans, for surely they are deserving of being slaves to such a woman, since they have already put up with her playing the tyrant for so long. But Mistress Andraste, may you always be our only leader. There's Boudica in her chariot there, and now we're going to play Selling England by the Pound. selling England by the pound. And then that comes to this hour and a half long video that I made at the beginning of COVID, Say Yes to Life and Free Will and Liberty, COVID Purpose. So I'm going to read what Monica ChatGPT said about my words and my video essay there. In response to the current crisis of COVID-19, I compiled a comprehensive video essay that delves into various topics ranging from literature, history, philosophy, and beyond. The essay is a culmination of thoughts and reflections on a wide array of subjects, providing a thought-provoking exploration of ideas. The essay begins with a reference to Henry Morley's introduction to Alexander Pope's essay on man, emphasizing the importance of letting the writer's spirit and ideas come into contact with the reader's mind. It stresses the significance of receptive reading as a precursor to true judgment and understanding of the writer's work. Moving on, the essay touches upon the documentary The Last Druid, which shed light on the Old Gaelic Order and its last member, Ben McBrady. The documentary offers insights into lost knowledge and ancient orders, providing a fascinating perspective on historical and spiritual matters. The discussion then delves into the concept of telepathy and its role in communication, drawing connections to the works of H.G. Wells. The idea of communicating thoughts before they are articulated in words is explored, adding depth to the exploration of human connection and understanding. The essay further explores the Pelagian controversy, highlighting the disputation between Pelagius and St. Augustine. This leads to a discussion on the evolution of ecclesiastical religion and its impact on historical narratives. The narrative then delves into linguistic concepts such as language as a byproduct of thought and the idea of knowledge residing beyond the confines of individual minds. This leads to an exploration of Rupert Sheldrake's concept of morphic resonance, offering a unique perspective on the nature of knowledge and communication. The essay then delves into the documentary Sacred Weeds by Andrew Sherratt, which explores ancient sites and neglected knowledge. It offers a captivating glimpse into the mystical and historical elements often overlooked by mainstream academia. The discussion then transitions to my poem titled Globalization Unentangled, which delves into political economy, national governance, and global governance. It provides a multifaceted explanation of societal structures and their implications. The essay also delves into various philosophical timelines, including Eastern philosophy, Western philosophy, and the history of metals. These timelines offer a comprehensive overview of the evolution of thought and human civilization. A significant portion of the essay is dedicated to the exploration of creativity, critical thinking, and the importance of leisure in fostering authentic expression. It emphasizes the value of idle hands in stimulating active minds and creative endeavors. Throughout the essay, there is an underlying theme of seeking deeper understanding and tapping into collective consciousness. It encourages readers to explore diverse perspectives, challenge established norms, and embrace creativity as a means of personal and societal growth. In conclusion, this video essay serves as a thought-provoking journey through a myriad of topics, inviting readers to engage with complex ideas and explore the interconnectedness of knowledge, history, and human experience. It encourages critical thinking, reflection, and an appreciation for the depth and diversity of human thought. Unveiling the historical context, a journey through various perspectives. In this blog post, we'll delve into a myriad of historical and philosophical concepts, shedding light on significant events, literary works, and thought-provoking ideas. Our exploration will encompass diverse topics ranging from the intricacies of the New World Order to the nuances of censorship trials and the profound musings of renowned poets and philosophers. Historical context, unraveling the ripple effect. To embark on our journey, let's first unravel the historical context that has shaped our understanding of the world. We'll delve into the ripple effect of pivotal events such as the 7/7 London bombings, 9/11, and various other occurrences that have captivated mainstream media attention. Our exploration will shed light on the intricate coincidences and underlying narratives that often remain obscured in mainstream discourse. exploring literary and philosophical dimensions. Moving beyond historical events, we will venture into the realm of literature and philosophy, from Geoffrey Chaucer's Canterbury Tales to James Joyce's Ulysses. We'll uncover the rich tapestry of literary works that offer profound insights into human existence and societal dynamics. Additionally, we'll delve into the realm of censorship trials and the interplay between personal theology and ecclesiastical theology, drawing inspiration from diverse philosophical perspectives. The New World Order and world governance. Our exploration will lead us to ponder upon the concept of the New World Order, world governance, and the rules-based international order. We'll examine the implications of these notions in the context of contemporary global dynamics, drawing parallels with historical precedents and philosophical discourses. Furthermore, we'll scrutinize the calls for global governance in response to current challenges, contemplating the implications of such endeavors on individual liberties and societal structures. Artificial intelligence, technocracy, and societal transformations. Delving into the realm of technological advancements and societal transformations, we'll examine the implications of artificial intelligence, migration, and education. We'll critically analyse how technological innovations intersect with broader societal issues, such as inequality, corruption, and governance. Our exploration will encompass the role of technocracy in shaping global dynamics and its impact on individual agency within contemporary societies. Philosophical musings and reflections. Transitioning towards philosophical musings, we'll reflect upon the age-old debate between determinism and libertarianism. Drawing inspiration from renowned thinkers such as Paulo Freire and Diogenes of Sinope, we'll contemplate the interplay between theory and practice, free will and societal constructs. Furthermore, we'll delve into the intricacies of linguistic tricks, circular reasoning, and the dichotomy between pragmatism and dogmatism in contemporary discourses. Literary allusions and cultural reflections. Our journey will also encompass literary allusions to works such as Ulysses and the Canterbury Tales, unravelling their cultural significance and enduring relevance in contemporary society. We'll explore how these literary masterpieces offer profound insights into human nature, societal dynamics, and existential contemplations. Additionally, we will reflect upon the enduring impact of historical figures such as Prometheus and their relevance in the contemporary philosophical discourses. Challenges to conventional narratives. As we navigate through diverse historical, literary, and philosophical dimensions, we will challenge conventional narratives and seek to unravel obscured truths. Our exploration will encompass critical reflections on prevalent discourses, shedding light on underlying narratives often overlooked in mainstream media representations. By questioning established paradigms, we aim to foster a deeper understanding of complex societal dynamics and historical events. Conclusion: navigating through diverse perspectives. In conclusion, our journey through historical, literary, and philosophical dimensions has offered a multifaceted exploration of diverse perspectives, from unravelling historical events to pondering upon literary masterpieces and engaging with philosophical musings. Our endeavour has sought to foster critical inquiry and reflection. By delving into the intricacies of the New World Order, technocracy, and societal transformations, we've aimed to unravel obscured truths and challenge prevailing narratives. As we navigate through diverse perspectives, we invite you to join us in this ongoing quest for deeper understanding and critical inquiry. Thank you for accompanying us on this thought-provoking journey through historical context, literary musings, and philosophical reflections. We hope that our exploration has sparked contemplation and inspired further inquiry into the complex tapestry of human existence. Stay tuned for more insightful explorations and critical reflections in our future endeavours. And then there's a link to Say Yes to Life, which I mentioned in the introduction. This is a link to Barnes & Noble. This is my novel, The Conquest of Joe. This is a poetry book that I published 2017, I think, for Philosophy, and this is the updated version, Going Direct Paradigm Spring 2024. And this is my grandfather's book, written in 1985, The Miner's Tale, all of which are a good read. So this is a blog I did in 2019, Pelagianism, Free Will Determinism. And there's a discourse between me and Dr. Tim Morgan, who has a thing called the Surplus Energy Economics blog, Seeds. This is a discussion chaired by my good friend David Malone, where Rupert Sheldrake is heckled from the back of the tent by Daniel Dennett. So Dennett is a determinist. Rupert, I'm not quite sure, but morphic resonance and all the rest of it. I think Rupert's views on free will are somewhat more multifaceted and charitable than those of Daniel Dennett. So this all began with the premiere of my reading of Europe, a Prophecy by William Blake. Here is that recording that's now on the blog. That was the original recording. 800 people have actually watched that, and I did it in a hurry, and I had some echo on there, and it's not great, but I dumped it into a sound Audacity, which is a free online sound editor thing, and I managed to get some of the echo off. I changed the EQ a bit, and by actually mixing in the Gaelic Symphony, it's actually, I think, quite listenable now. And so I'm going to round off now. This is Pelagius said this. We must now take precautions to prevent you from being embarrassed by something in which the ignorant majority is at fault for lack of proper consideration. And so from supposing with them that man has not been created truly good simply because he is able to do evil. If you reconsider this matter carefully and force your mind to apply a more acute understanding to it, it will be revealed to you that man's status is better and higher for the very reason for which it is thought to be inferior. It is on this choice between two ways, on this freedom to choose either alternative, that the glory of the rational mind is based. It is in this that the whole honour of our nature consists. It is from this that its dignity is derived. That's Pelagius. This is an interview with Matthew Fox, who was thrown out the Catholic Church, and he has things to say about Pelagius. And then these are 3 blogs filling in the gaps, it's called, what have you. And I'm going to round off with my poem Q here. Sisyphus pushed his boulder, the path smooth both ways, the same incline repeated, Parmenides-like determination. Prometheus chained over the hill, willing that Sisyphus may succeed, Pantaray alike to his own flame, both legends for deaf ears. Heraclitus his ebb and flow, crying metaphors to deaf masses, sobbing similes to blind tyranny, Calvary the summit to that bluff. Maimonides saw each contradiction, each species of deafness loud, each species of blindness dark, all no less perplexed than the next. Yet another Sisyphus rolls, yet another Prometheus reveals, yet another Heraclitus cries, yet another Maimonides interprets. Ancient and modern cueing, missed cues and repeated lines, a dialogue of the divine comedy, stockaded in linguistic prison walls. Plus ça change, plus la même chose. Thanks for listening.